Republican votes and try to pass this lousy bill. I don't think that's serving the population. I actually don't even think it's serving the financial system. I think you get a lousy financial structuring, kind of behind-the-table, smoky deal. We need confidence in our financial system. And we borrow so much money abroad. We need everyone to be confident. We got to reboot trust in our society. This is a civic crisis.
So how do you do it?
How do you do it? The first thing you do is, like I said, I use the metaphor of Warren Buffett. You do a very severe restructuring. Bruce is exactly right. The executive pay issue is a red herring. It's a symptom. It's like a smoke signal of what's going on here.
People certainly latch onto it. They understand
right.
344
it's small potatoes compared to $700 billion. You got to go out and say, how do you protect the population with a $700 billion with capital restructuring? How do you re-regulate so the financial system serves the economy? You know, when I was a student, they used to say there's society and it uses an economy to meet its social goals, and finance facilitates the economy. Well, what's happened is the servant's servants become the master's master. And I think we've got to reinvert that and put things back in their place.
So lay it out. Lay it out, the bill that Rob Johnson would write. Your former chief economist of the Senate Banking Committee?
Right. $500 billion would be used to go into preferred stock injections run by bank examiners. $200 billion would go into recapitalization of the FDIC. $200 billion would be put towards mortgage relief. Many legal changes, some of which Bruce is more expert than I am, regarding the GSEs and changing the nature of the bankruptcy code. So you're essentially restructuring there, you're re-regulating Wall Street, you're penalizing Wall Street, and you're giving the American people ownership of the stock in the financial system, which can be sold in the market over 10 or 15 years.
Under Bill Clinton and Treasury Secretary Robert Rubin, Glass-Steagall was done away with. I mean, ultimately, Rubin had already left by then, but he was pushing hard for it. And Phil Gramm, the close advisor to McCain, he pushed it through. Rubin now, of course, the close advisor to Barack Obama.
Yes.
Glass-Steagall, that separated, Glass-Steagall being thrown out meant that there was not that line then between the investment banks and the commercial banks.
Right.
You think it should be reinstated?
Not per se, but what I would say is the repeal of Glass-Steagall was a symptom of the tide since Ronald Reagan of market fundamentalism. I don't necessarily think it should be repealed. It does allow all kinds of conflicts of interest between different aspects of these mega financial institutions to be perpetrated on our society. But I would say there are more important fish to fry right now in getting things straight.
Bruce Marks, you're writing the bill. What is the bill that you're going to put forward?
The bill will be, in fact, focused solely on the foreclosures. Stop the foreclosures. It would be, as we've been saying, you know, moratorium on foreclosures. It would be stop the interest rate increases. It would be force these lenders and servicers to restructure the mortgages, meaning to say, based on someone's existing budget, their net income minus their liabilities, minus their expenses, what's available for a mortgage payment, and reduce the interest rates to get to that payment. And we're doing that for thousands of people. It can be done on a massive scale. And then I would say out there, don't do anything else, because the fact of the matter is, if we provide $700 billion to bail out Wall Street, even in the constructive way that Rob is saying out there, what happens, there's no guarantee that this is going to work. And then that means that if the economy goes into a severe recession, there's no money left. So what happens with the next administration out there is that you have, if it is McCain, there's no money for tax cuts. If it is Barack Obama, there's no more money for health care or anything of the other initiatives he wants to do. The fact of the matter is, we can't allow this administration to bankrupt this country in a sense that there's no money left out there to do either its social programs or its a jobs program.
But would no bailout affect the very people you're most concerned about? For example, the people who are being foreclosed on. Would the poor, would the middle class suffer the most from an economic bailout or not? Suffer the most from an economic collapse or not?
Well, the fact of the matter is, let our system work. If we're a free enterprise system, which we're supposed to be, let it play out a little bit. You know, if we need to hold money in reserve to deal with a crisis, then let's do that. but we can't throw everything at this when it's a crapshoot. And that's what you're saying, because is there money left after really $1 trillion of taxpayer money? Where does the next $1 trillion come from? Where do we get that money? And then we're dependent upon every foreign country, the foreign markets in the world to buy our bills, to buy our debt.
Rob Johnson.
They're going to be able to put the demand on us and the arm on us.
What I feel right now is that the people who are the weakest economically are the people who will be on the end of the whip. And we do have to spend that money now and not keep it in reserve for the future, because their circumstances are very dire. I believe it's a fascinating time. We talked about the disarray in the parties today, but Bruce sounds not that much different than lots of very ethical people on the right. The American Enterprise Institute and George Soros are writing the same op-ed piece. Economists on all sides and community activists, Ellen Blinder, Martin Feldstein, and Larry Lindsey, who worked in the Bush White House, are all talking about mortgage relief. There is a consensus among people about how to do this, and they can't break through what you might call the money politics system to get it done. But it's not left or right, and that's quite extraordinary. At some level, the crisis is so severe that ideology is being thrown out the window and practicality is coming back.
John Kenneth Galbraith said the only respectable form of socialism is socialism for the rich in America.
That's sad that I even laugh at that. Yes.
What about the concentration of these banks now? Reading in the headlines today, with the nation's fourth largest bank, Wachovia, being acquired by Citigroup. Right. What we have now is Washington Mutual seized by regulators before its assets were sold to J.P. Morgan. Now the nation has three super banks: Bank of America, Citigroup, J.P. Morgan Chase.
You say too big to fail. Well, if you're too big to fail, you're too big to be let loose to do whatever you want to do. Because in essence, you're a ward of the state. You're like a public utility that we all depend on. And what they've tried to do is be too big to fail, but on the upside, play whatever gambling games they want to do. That's got to change.
10 seconds, Bruce Marks. Final words.
It is a real problem out there that these are so big that they can't even move to readdress what's going on in the market. But again, the last words are, please, to all your viewers, call your congressman, call your congresswoman, tell them don't do the bailout. It's working. We're winning. The left and the right are coming together to stop this theft of the American taxpayer dollar. It's a theft. Let's stop it. We're winning. We can kill this thing.
Bruce Marks, founder and CEO of NACA, the Neighborhood Assistance Corporation of America, speaking to us from Boston, and Rob Johnson, former chief economist of the Senate Banking Committee. His latest piece, Bridge Loan to Nowhere, online at thenation.com. That does it for our show. Democracy Now! Produced by Mike Berkshire, Hunter Caduce, Aaron Mate, Angelique Comet. I'm Amy Goodman. Thanks so much for joining us.